This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. In 2020 and 2021, Donald Trump attempted to end democracy in America. He attempted to overthrow the United States government. That's not a secret. We all witnessed January 6, 2021, the violent insurrection at the Capitol in an attempt to overthrow the government by stopping a free and fair election from being certified. We watched it. The media watched it. And they still are interviewing him as though he's just a normal political candidate, as though he's just a normal presidential candidate. The right is using mainstream media as their toy, as a plaything, to advance their agenda, which is to end democracy in America. Not end it as we know it, to end democracy. Kristen Welker is the new host, or moderator as they call it, of Meet the Press. She is succeeding Chuck Todd, who did a deplorable job. And now she is following in his footsteps and apparently going to be doing just as miserable a job at it. Her very first interview in her inaugural weekend as the host or moderator of Meet the Press was with Donald Trump. And they knew they were going to get criticism. And in spite of that knowledge of criticism, they ran the interview exactly as was expected. It's insane. What's the saying that when you repeat the same behavior expecting different results, that's like the definitions of insanity? Or I don't know that the exact language are the same, but that's what we're witnessing here. We're leading into another presidential election with Donald Trump leading the Republican polls, and the media is going to treat him just like they treated him in 2016, and likely just like in 2020. They're interviewing him as though he didn't try to overthrow the country. He didn't try to end democracy. He's just another candidate. And in response to the criticism, they had a segment on NBC News. And Peter Baker from the New York Times, he wants to explain it away that, oh, yeah, of course, it's very difficult to interview Donald Trump. We have a very tough job. Because he goes on and he just spouts things. Thing after thing. I don't remember the exact language. I'll play the clip here. He's not spouting things. He's spouting lies, Peter Baker from the New York Times. Kristen Welker of NBC News and Meet the Press. He's spouting lie after lie after lie and propaganda in an effort to rile his base to another moment that culminates in an attempt to overthrow the United States government. And you are allowing him to do it. Here's Peter Baker from the New York Times.
We have gotten criticism for just sitting down with former President Trump. He is the former president. He's facing 4 indictments as journalists. Just set the scene, the backdrop, why there is still news value, and value for the public to hear from him.
Well, this is a huge challenge for American journalism, of course, right? It cannot be that a person can run for president of the United States, be a front runner in his party, and possibly win without ever being challenged by a tough, independent interviewer. And that's, I think, an important part of our system. Now, it obviously is a challenge for us because he is just going to spout out one thing after another, and fact-checking in real time is a real hard thing. But what you've done here is edit it and make sure people understand what's real and what's not.
They can't even say it. Spout one thing after the other. They're lies. It is propaganda. It is damaging and dangerous for the continuation of our republic. And he can't even call it what it is. He has a duty as a journalist. And then Kristen Welker categorizes the complaints and the criticism that she's receiving as we're getting criticism for just sitting down with him. We're being criticized. Oh, the humanity, Miss Welker. You are assisting. And let me give you an example. I picked like a 2-minute segment here of this interview where he scolds her at the end, ominously, like, let me finish. And she shuts up. She sits back and allows the propaganda and lies to continue flowing unchallenged. Things that should have been challenged in real time were not. Instead, they posted an article about it, about all the things that should have been corrected. This is important, and this is dangerous. And they're doing it for ratings. They're doing it for clicks. They're doing it for clout. They're doing it for cash. Watch this segment and marvel in the idiocy.
Soldiers, she turned them.
I want to know what
that
you
she's in
did on
charge of
that
security.
day. I want to know. You're the president of the United States, though.
She's in charge of
Tell me
security.
how you watched this all unfold. Were you in the dining room watching TV?
I'm not going to tell you. I'll tell people later at an appropriate time. Just so you understand, however.
What did you do when the
beautiful
Capitol was
statements.
under attack, though?
Let me
Mr.
just tell
President?
you.
In the moment that the Capitol
Did you
was
see
under
the
attack.
statements I made in the Oval Office and just outside of the Oval Office?
Absolutely. I
Go
was there
home.
that day.
Our police are great. We love our police. We love everybody. Go home.
This was
a
more-
beautiful
that was at
statement.
4 o'clock
that
in the
statement was
afternoon,
made-
more than
I don't know.
3
But
hours after the
But there
attack
were tweets
started,
that were
Mr.
put out
President.
before that.
I want to know who you called
By the way,
on that day.
Nancy Pelosi. I
wanna
don't
talk
have.
about
Why
that
would
day.
I tell you that? Listen,
Don't wanna
Nancy
talk about
Pelosi
that?
was in charge of security. She turned down 10,000 soldiers. If she didn't turn down the soldiers, you wouldn't have had January 6th.
Did you call military or law enforcement?
What?
Did you call military or law enforcement at the moment the Capitol
I'm
was
not going
under
to
attack?
tell you anything. Let me put it this way. I behaved so well. I did such a good job. Nancy Pelosi turned down 10,000 soldiers. If she didn't do that,
But
and now
Nancy
I understand.
Pelosi doesn't have the
I
authority
understand
that
the
you
police
have as
testified
commander-in-chief,
against.
though.
Listen to me, Kristen. Listen to me. I understand that the police testified against her, the chief very strongly against her, Capitol Police, great people. They testified against her, and they burned all the evidence. Okay, they burned all the evidence. They
President-
destroyed all the evidence about Nancy Pelosi.
What do you say to people who wonder why you as commander-in-chief, you have authorities that Nancy Pelosi doesn't have as
No,
commander-in-chief?
she has authority over
Why
the
didn't
Capitol.
you send help in that moment, though?
Frankly, just so you understand, I assumed that she took care of it. She turned down.
So when you realized that the National Guard wasn't coming?
Well,
when
you
help
don't
wasn't
realize
coming?
anything until quite a while. National Guard not coming. I asked it to be there 3 days in advance, and she turned it down.
She says that request was never officially made.
Oh,
just
stop
so
it.
you know.
Let me just tell you.
Let me ask you
The
about
mayor of
pardons,
let me
Mr.
tell you.
President.
The end there. Let me tell you. That was a 2-minute, 10-second, 2-minute, 9-second, roughly 2-minute clip. I'm not going to tell you. Why would I tell you that? I'm not going to tell you anything. At which point, the interview is over. Well, then get the fuck out of here. You're not going to use our airwaves as a propaganda distribution network. But instead, it continued. Everything you just heard was lies. He ordered National Guard. He sat by for 3 hours while the Capitol was ransacked with Confederate flags traipsing through, while the people he dispatched there, inciting that insurrection, attempted to overthrow the United States government with the sole objective of overturning a free and fair, settled American election. You should be ashamed of yourself, NBC News, Peter Baker, and Kristen Welker, all of you. This is why independent media is so important. This is why what I do is becoming more and more important. People like Packman and Cousins, me, others, many, many others in this space. This is why what we do is important. Anyway, I will leave it there. Did you watch this? Have you seen other clips of this? What are your thoughts? I would love to know. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Follow me. You can tell me on social media what you think. I'm at Dollemore on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, all of them. At Dollemore. I'd love to see you there. And if you do appreciate what I do, the mission, the agenda, the not having to answer to anybody of independent media, please consider supporting what we do. And listen, if I'm not your guy, if I don't bring you enough value to support what I do, you don't want to become a channel member or go to my Patreon page, support someone in this space who does more for you than I do. If Farron Cousins is that guy for you, if David Pakman is that guy for you, go support those people or anyone else in this space that's doing good work in the independent media space. It's important. It doesn't have to be me. I mean, obviously, I would appreciate it if it's me. But if it's not, find someone that you can team with to support this work. I appreciate you guys very much. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.